Welcome back. Today here in the shop, we're back on the Stitches Challenger, which I'm quite sure surprises you and shocks you when you didn't expect that, did you? Well, it's been Christmas and we've had family in from all over the country and life has just been really busy and time to get back into things, and I'm just having a little challenge getting motivated. So today we're going to do some stuff that's going to be really fun, that's going to bring some visual appeal, some visual encouragement, share some fun things with you, as well as just see what things are going to look like as we move forward. We've got packages to open, so there's a lot going on here. You know that we try to share things that you can apply directly to what you're doing to your car, and today it's going to be how to encourage yourself when you're losing motivation. All right, let's just stop talking about it. Let's get into it. I'm Mike, and this is My Car Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
Once you get yourself going, it's not so bad, but it's hard to come out of a nice warm house and come out here into a shop that's about 32 degrees. I don't have the furnaces going yet so that we can do the intros without you listening to all that noise, but it's hard sometimes to just get going. Open the shop up, pull the charger out, get everything set up, get the heat going, determine what project I'm working on, get around. Well, it's just stuff when you're doing this many projects. It's always a shuffle. But today I want to really encourage myself and just dream a little bit and just share that process with you. We've got some fun stuff in some packages to share, and I can't wait to do that. So I'm going to get the heat fired up, we're going to get the shop warmed up, and then we're going to get into it. As you all know, I have been looking for some parts for the Stitches Challenger for a while, and I ran across an interesting find on Facebook Marketplace. This part came from a place called the Speed Shop, and I'm pretty much betting you can guess what's in here. Speed Shop is down in Ohio. They specialize in buying and selling new and used performance and classic parts. The individual that I dealt with via Facebook The individual that I dealt with via Facebook Marketplace was Nick, and very great. I give the interaction and the communication 200%. In fact, we have continued to communicate. One of the things that I told him after I had such a positive purchasing experience was I would go ahead and feature this on the channel and talk about them a little bit. I have not opened the package. I'm not being endorsed or paid to say anything. There was no discount on the part. I'm going to give you a 100% honest assessment of this part when I get it, but I will tell you right now, in dealing with them, so far, 200%. I couldn't be happier. So I look forward to possibly doing business with them again in the future. So it's going to take a little bit to unwrap this, because one of the things that he did was make sure that he wrapped it up extra good so that there was no damage in shipping, and I really, really appreciate that. Wow. Wowzy, wow. Wow. Let's get you over here and let you see this thing. perfectly as described. Very minor scratches that will absolutely polish out. Some marks from it being mounted on the car, from the bolts, exactly what they said it was going to be. Nothing misrepresented here at all. Pretty typical of an aftermarket replacement bumper. The chrome's not perfect, but damn, this thing looks great. Again, marks here. This thing, better than I expected. Exactly as described, but I also kind of discounted it, expecting that it was going to look a little bit worse than I expected, but it looks better than I expected. You've got a little bit of a dent in the bumper here from the bracket being over tightened, but wow, I am so impressed with this. Yes, you know, initial blush, little scratch here. I can see the brass through there. For stitches, that's fine. This is not a concours car. This is probably the nicest bumper on any vehicle I own at this point. I almost feel like this is too nice. Yeah, a little bit of brass here from a scratch, but again, I'm fine with that. I don't really know the backstory behind this bumper. It was sold as a brand new takeoff, which means somebody purchased it, put it on the car for whatever reason. They took it off the car, and I don't know if the speed shop got it back or if they purchased it. It doesn't matter to me what the backstory is. But so far what I see is everything is exactly as they've described it. Now, fitment issues, they wouldn't know that. So we're gonna put it on the car. If there are fitment issues, that's not gonna be on them. So at this point, I would say that 200% on their customer service, 200% on over-delivering what the product was supposed to be. I am thoroughly impressed and blown away. This thing's gonna look so awesome on the back of stitches. So what I wanna do now is get the other bumper out and buzz the bumper brackets off and put them on here and then put them on the car. Remember that the whole back end of the car is not done yet. We hand fabricated unibody frame rails for this car. We've hand fabricated a lot of other parts. We've been working on hand fabricating the rear valance. And the reason we needed the bumper was to check rear valance fitment. So remember that building a car like this, especially when you're hand fabricating everything, is really about fitting pieces and making sure that everything fits and lines up exactly the way that it's supposed to. So you've really got to have the parts you're going to use for final fitment to make sure that everything looks good. I can't emphasize that enough. You can build a car without having everything, but you're going to probably have fitment issues when you go to put something on if you haven't test fitted it and checked everything. So that's where we're at with this. We're certainly not done with all the fabricating and building that we need to do, but I needed this bumper, even though the bumper part for completing the car isn't probably going to be needed for a year. We've still got to put this car on the rotisserie and a lot of other things, but we've got to get the chassis on this car built so that it will handle being on the rotisserie without breaking in half. And we certainly are a long way into that process. I was looking back on video from when I started on this, other than pounding the roof out and just doing little stuff, dinking around on it. We didn't get serious about doing anything on this car until November 24th of 2020. So it's just been a little over a year that we've been hand fabricating all of this stuff to put this car back together again. We've got a ways to go yet, but we've come a long way in doing all of that work. So for those that haven't been on the channel long or who haven't seen all the other 50 episodes on all the work we've done, I kind of want to just give you the backstory on what and why we're doing what we're doing and why we have to have this bumper. You always have to be fitting things. The other thing I want to answer real quick, Duddy had asked the question, and by the way, if you have not checked out Duddy's Adventures, go do that. Duddy's a good friend and is a channel out of Texas. He's a fellow YouTuber. I actually met him through YouTube and Facebook. His channel just hit 1,000 subscribers, so congratulations on that, Duddy. But he was asking the question about when I'm going to put the mud on the rear valance. Now, the valance from the last episode is only half done, and it's not even done because we've not mudded anything. I've still got finish welding and stuff to do over on the other side. But he was asking about fiberglassing and bondoing and all that. And what I will do is once the quarter panels are further along and we're ready to start final fitment, I will bolt the valance back on the car, go ahead and do that fiberglass work because you want to blend that right into the quarter panel, cut it back apart, sand it all down, make sure everything blends perfect so that you get perfect body seams and blending around. It'll be a while before we get to that, but I just wanted to give you a verbal at least. Once it's bondoed up, we can put it on and off the car once it fits. If you want to see some of that work, I think I described it over on the 47 4th Street project when I was putting the front, maybe the rear. I think it was the rear bumperette when I was bolting that on the car probably a year and a half ago or a year ago. Because I had done that same exact work there and I described the process of what I did. I think we may have also done it on the front bumperette on the 47 also. That's not painted yet, but I did the same exact thing there. You do your final fitting and mudding with it on the car, you cut it, you sand it, you make it blend in, you make it fit, and then you can bolt it on and off again and forever. It should fit basically perfectly. Hopefully we can rat-a-tat these off of here with the impact done. I need to get new bolts, but I didn't get that done, so hopefully we can temporarily reuse these. We'll see. These things are expensive. I'm glad to have a couple. We'll get some polishing equipment. I need to get a new polishing machine, motor, and buffing pads and stuff. And we'll get these polished up. They'll look pretty good. This one won't come off, so we got to deal with that. One way that I try to get carriage bolts out is just to use a pry bar to hold the bracket or whatever it is you're trying to take off up so that the bolt carriage head stays in the bumper in the square spot. Doesn't want to come. Hang it. Yeah, unfortunately that one rounded off. We may have to make a road trip to get some new carriage bolts. That one came. I might have a couple of these here, we'll see. Because I know we have people of all different levels of experience here on the channel, I just wanted to share that when I get a bolt like this that the head is rusty, I'll go find my metric sockets, find one that's close, and then just pound it on there in the hopes that maybe it will pull it off. In this case it worked. So you can break your sockets doing that, but I've been doing that for years, and I'm sure a lot of you know that, but some of you may not, so that's what I do to get those off of there. Of course, last but not least, we need to get the taillight license light out of there, or the license plate light. So we go on that. It's broken a little bit, but I'm probably going to go ahead and glue it back together and just use it. We'll get it all apart. We'll get the black bracket sandblasted up in the cabinet and everything. But for now, it's out of the way. I'm not going to put it in the new bumper. At this point, I'll just throw it in a box over there with some other lights that I have for the back of the car. All right, let's get the new bumper over here now and start assembling this back together. One carriage bolt that I couldn't. I even tried to save it by cutting down the nut like this, but it was just too rusted on there, and the square head part was too rusted, so it was spinning in the bumper. So we've got some bumper bolts we can reuse. I'll just stick another regular bolt in there for now, or see if I have a carriage bolt. I did find one that's a little smaller. It's not a bumper bolt, but it probably will work. I was very fortunate that I was able to find one more bumper bolt, brand new one over there, so I'll probably put all new ones in, but for now at least I have some to use. These actually are not in that bad a shape, but I don't want to be that cheap. These are a little bit dented up, so we'll get some new ones. Unfortunately, our local hardware store that used to carry these is out of business, but I think probably I can get them at the local auto parts, so no big deal. I also spent a bunch of time digging around to find bumper bolts and realized that the bumper bolts brackets are already in the bracket. Anyway, the bolts are in the bracket, so go figure on that. And I gotta see, that does not go there. Okay, I'm doing something wrong here, I gotta think. I spent a fair bit of time running around gathering nuts and bolts, and I also ran taps down through a lot of the nuts and just getting things cleaned up. But one thing I wanted to mention is don't use your impact gun to tighten down bumper brackets. It's a very good way to bend your new bumper. I'm not tightening these down terribly tight right now, just snugging them up because we're just test fitting everything, but you shouldn't really tighten them up much more than with a ratchet, and don't get crazy on tightening them down. Especially on a car like this one that does not have the bumper slots where you're picking the car up. You want it tight, don't get me wrong, but you don't need to use a 7-foot breaker bar and about 650 pounds of torque to torque all this stuff down. So just be wise, don't bend the crap out of everything. Okay, I think we have things close here. So hopefully, maybe, I gotta find a bolt for this. Hopefully, maybe we're close to being able to go and put this on the car. Missing 2 bolts here, but I have some here, so hopefully these are gonna work. We'll see. As expected, the passenger side rear is pretty much spot on. A little bit of work to do there, but not much. The driver's side it's low. I'm not sure over here, I didn't notice that till right now, but I think that may be sucked in a little bit too far on that bumperette, so I'm gonna have to address that, take a look at that, but nothing that wasn't expected. But this is why we needed the bumper, to make everything line up, because you have to have a frame of reference. The bumper is, what did you say, Joe, is within a 1/16 of an inch of level to the car?
32nd.
Oh, 32nd, okay.
So yeah, we had to route the holes in the bumper mount back over here down a little bit, but they were off from the factory. They didn't line up right. So we took a rat tail file and ground that down and dropped that bumper down just a little bit and raised it up a little bit over there, and everything's good. But I didn't see that before right there. So I've got to look at some pictures and see, but I'm guessing that may be in just a bit too far. I'm wondering if the bottom of that cowl shouldn't be more towards along the bottom of the bumper. So, but that's why we needed it. We got to be able to line things up. We have to have that lined up in order to get the quarter panel on, because all that has to line over here. So one thing leads to another. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that's just a bit of improvement. So we have work to do on the cowl over on that side, as I mentioned, but that's the whole point of this, and we're in good shape here. So that's going to do it for this episode. I appreciate you being here. There'll be a lot more coming. We've got to obviously get this finished up down here so we can get the quarter panel on. But we are making huge progress. I will try to remember to insert a picture here of what the back of this car looked like before it looked like this. All right, so you can find us on the Face thing and on your Instagram over at /MyCarShop. And don't forget to subscribe and do all of that stuff. Once again, congratulations, Duddy, for hitting your 1,000 subscribers. And we look forward to continuing seeing your channel grow. The other thing I wanted to do was, once again, to give a quick shout out to the Speed Shop from down in Toledo, Ohio. Really, really appreciate you setting me up with this bumper. Class act, totally 200% satisfied with both the product and the service. So if you guys are looking for something, check them out. I'll put this right up here. Hopefully you can see it. So once again, thanks to Nick and everybody that rock.